Is this a worm you'd go fishing with?
That's right.
And it's still moving, so it's still alive. So would you get something and toss it out the front door?
Want me to put it in one of your plants?
Oh, he's on the move, or she's on the move. You can just toss him and throw him into the garden. Be gentle, be gentle.
Now, Hubs, over the adventure, he was hoping it was a snake. He was hoping it was one of those Texas blind snakes, or I think it was also called a Texas rough snake. He always likes to think big. Well, wherever Hubs threw that big old worm, it has quickly run away. So at first, when we did a Google Eye on it, it came up a couple of different things. It came up as a Texas, some kind of small Texas snake. It also came up as a kind of nefarious worm. But then on closer inspection and several consultations with ChatGPT and Google, it came out to be just a classic night crawler. But we really had to get up close and personal with it to determine that indeed it was a worm and it wasn't one of those small snakes. Well, happy Easter, everyone, and I am hoping where you are high and dry, because here at the cottage, we got 2.26 inches of rain last night. I took some footage of it for Stuart to show you. It was amazing, and we were getting flash flood alerts all night long. I'm amazed that I don't have any more standing water than I do. But because of the rain last night, and because we are to get more of it today, we're not going to do our traditional garden life where I was going to show you some things, because it's just simply too wet, lots of thunder, lots of lightning, and also because we had some special visitors to the cottage. We're going to call this segment Snakes on the Cottage, or Snakes at the Cottage. Because this morning, well, let's just say we had some visitors, and they were inside, and it was pretty amazing. I think we ended up, maybe we had 8 or 9 of them. That's how much rain we got, and I'm kind of teasing you, but when Stuart shows you some of the pictures and some of the footage that Hubs and I took this morning, you'll see why. They turned out to be good guys. We threw them back into the garden. But it was pretty amazing. In time for Easter, the Eden rose has bloomed. And after this rain, and by the way, it's supposed to be very rainy all week long, I anticipate that these will really explode. And I'm hoping not only in blooms, but also in growth, because I want them to look very vigorous here on the corner. I love the bicolor quality of both the buds and the blooms. Really beautiful. Well, everybody in these parts, they are racing home from church, from maybe family celebrations, family Easter egg hunts, soggy Easter egg hunts, because the Thunder are in the playoffs, and the first game today is at noon. So that's kind of a celebratory thing. And here you can see across the street that the skeleton now has donned a Thunder cap and a basketball. And there are so many Oklahoma City Thunder flags out in the neighborhood. It's really remarkable. Very much team spirit here in Mesta Park. Later this week, I am hoping to take you on a little tour, a little walking tour of some of my favorite homes in my neighborhood. Look at how lush and green everything is. I've showed it to you before. I'm going to show it to you again, but I love this triumvirate of purple plants. There's that low-growing salvia, the nepeta, Persian blue, and the scabiosa, and then the taller salvia. And now the alliums are joining the party. I never get tired of coming out here and see what's happening on a day-to-day basis, and I hope you don't either. Today I intended to do more projects, but I did want to put something up for you and also document it, because this isn't going to, I mean, it's going to be hot before we know it. It's cool and rainy this morning, and boy, are we savoring every drop of this and what it's going to do once the sun comes out again, which it's not going to do much of this week. I think it's going to be rainy and cool, but we'll take it. Good morning, sweet peas. Clamber away. And over here, the spires of the larkspur are really starting to show themselves. You gotta love spring green, don't you? When all of these buds bloom, these roses are just going to be big old clouds of white. And there's another thunder flag. I love all of these sweet little blueberries that are starting to set. See if I can get focus there. Aren't those so dear? Tiny, tiny little blueberries. I don't know how big my production will be this year, but that doesn't mean that the blueberries will be any less appreciated. These are some of those rabbit eye blueberries from Southern Living. And here we go. Here come all of those alliums in a drift along this path leading over to Autumn's Edge. Lots of larkspur. And then in the distance, you can see their nodding heads. There's all sorts of alliums over there. All of these textures and the complexity and the gradations of color are just magnificent in this misty light. I thought you guys might appreciate this really up close and personal vantage point. This Pure Joy sedum, well, it's really filling the containers now. And I've taken several cuttings of it, and I'm creating some tufts in the back. Love that color. And it looks sweet with the little fuchsia blooms. They're out. This is in one of Carolina Elizabeth's pots, and it had been in the parlor, but I brought it outside to enjoy the rain and the moist and misty conditions here, which it really likes. Let's take a look at the progress of the topiary of the Skylight Better boxwood that I worked on the other day, putting out all sorts of new growth. Loving this rain, loving it. And of course in Oklahoma we get it all at once, never over a period of time, but in one big deluge. but better a deluge than none at all. Gorgeous big fat buds on the Terra hydrangea. Well, it took it a while because it had a setback after that late freeze. But this laurel, this cherry laurel topiary that I brought from the other house, it started over and it's putting out all sorts of new leafy growth. And then over here, pruned a little bit on this olive tree. And then over here, this is a surprise. Here is the surprise of the week. Look here. This is in my alleyway, or leading to the alley. Look at that amaryllis. And then in that little bag there is a tiny little redbud tree that Hubs got as a thank you gift for donating plasma and platelets yesterday at the Oklahoma Blood Institute. So we will plant that, I think, someplace, maybe out in the alley. I was so glad to have that awning up last night so that I could stand there and take a look at the rain without being drenched myself. I finally got around to pruning the top ball on that Eugenia topiary, and it's putting out new leafy growth as well. The Salvia argentea is getting huge. And here, right next door to it, is where I am starting a couple of tufts of that Pure Joy sedum. I think it'll be a pretty little trio over here with this Artemisia and the Salvia and the boxwood. And then those fig trees have really enjoyed the rain and the heat that we had earlier in the week. It's taken a while, but the lavender is starting to green up. And it was looking pretty ragged for a while, but now the creeping thyme is starting to fill in. And here's another Shop My Garden find that came from the other house. Look at all the pretty new growth that Blue Point juniper is putting on. And surprise, surprise, I have some little blooms on my tomato plants. This one is Rutgers. I have a Cherokee purple over here and a Snow White over here. These all came from bricks. And there's another little surprise. 2 squash or pumpkin seeds that have germinated underneath one of the olive trees. Well, the rain is starting up again, so I'm going to go back inside. I'm going to get warm, have a cup of hot coffee. And I'm sorry we couldn't have our regular garden life video up today, but hopefully you enjoyed this rainy little tour and aren't too sick of the cottage garden yet. Happy Easter, everyone.